It has been a while since I've done a YouTube video since post games. I feel like there's been a lot that's gone on, the pretty typical like off season time, but also just like a lot of emotions that have come from, I think, just everything settling down from the games. And so I first want to just kind of start off with that of I think everyone's kind of going through some different grief cycles of the Lazar thing. I know personally, the more that I've sat here and just had a lot more quiet time, there's been ebbs and flows of just being like heartbroken for what's happened and just kind of like replaying the scenario over and over again and just really being sad. And then it comes up with other things too, like I'll be listening to something that has nothing to do with CrossFit, like a YouTube video or even a song, and it'll kind of just make me teary-eyed. And so it's just been an interesting time, and I know a lot of us athletes and even people that were there and even people that just saw from afar have been experiencing things. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and say that it's okay to be going through different grief cycles, and it's okay to like be happy one day and then the other day be sad, and just kind of going through the ebbs and flows. And I think when you allow yourself to feel the sadness and the grief that comes from something so tragic, it allows for healing to take place. And so I'm just reminding you and I'm reminding myself that like talk about it with people, talk about it with your inner circle, talk about it with your friends, talk about it with people that are safe so that healing can continue to take place. And then also so we can make the sport better too. I think there's a lot of questions right now of what's the future of the sport? What does it look like? And we've had some meetings with the PFAA, which is like the Athletes Association, which is put on by Brent Fikowski and Pat Vellner and a couple of other athletes. We've had some talks about what does the future look like, and I'm personally not going to share that stuff because it's not for me to tell right now. Yeah, I think that there's just a lot of questions about the future. And personally for me, my thoughts are, and this is not to take away from what's happened this year, but since 2017, since the games, the season has honestly looked very different from season to season for me. So even without everything happening, I expect change to happen. But I'm hoping this change is for the better. That is my fingers like crossed, like that is my hope for this year. Because I think CrossFit is still going to be around. I don't think it's just going to disappear. There's just no way it's going to. Whether that's us doing, the off-season competitions of Rogue and Wadapalooza, Dubai, Argentina, like all of those competitions, or there is a CrossFit Games. I don't know what that looks like. But what I do know is that I love this sport and I love competing. And I know that there's still a future, and it's just a matter of time for what that looks like. But my hope is that there is change for the better, and it sucks that it took something so tragic to happen for people to actually start talking about it. A lot of people didn't know about the PFAA, but it has been around since 2020, and we have been trying to make changes, or Brent has, and Pat, and it sucks that something like this is making people take it a lot more serious, but I think it brings to light people that are advocating within the CrossFit world. So I appreciate people like that. Personally, I don't feel super led to be a leader within this, but I want to be supportive with what happens and the people that are leaders. So that's kind of been my role, is just to be a support system for the people that are trying to make the changes within CrossFit. So there's that. Secondly, if you haven't seen, you're not going to see him right now, but we did get a new dog. Secretly, Randy and I have actually had him for about 4 or 5 months now, so I got him before the games. And it wasn't something we were trying to do, honestly. We did not need another animal. We had just gotten Winston in January, and it was a perfectly harmonious family. It was like, we had one dog, one cat, us two. It was great. But there was a situation with one of Randy's co-workers, friend of a friend, who had stage 4 terminal colon cancer. And I can see him. Can you see him? And he just couldn't keep his dog anymore because he was on, unfortunately his last leg. And they were looking for a home for it. And he got rehomed like 3 or 4 times, and I love dogs. I love animals in general, but I really love dogs. And I've gotten a huge heart for bulldogs because I feel like there's a lot of abuse and neglect and a lot of terrible things that happen to these dogs specifically. I'm not saying that other dogs don't, but these dogs specifically, people are very infatuated by them, even though they have like terrible health issues and a lot of breathing issues, and the breeding's terrible. But anyway, so when I found out that there was another dog in need, a bulldog specifically, I was like, Randy, don't tempt me with a good time. So here we are with a third animal, and he's doing great. He's a 2-year-old English bulldog. So Bella is Old English and he's English, so he's fatter. They weigh exactly the same though. They're both 55 pounds. But he gets a spa day every morning. I have to wipe his face, clean his wrinkles. It's a whole thing in the morning. But he's doing good. It's taken some time for him to calm down. He definitely has more anxiety than Bella, but he's doing good. And we're enjoying having 3 animals. And Randy was like, if there happened to be a cat that looks like Winston that happened to be free, we could take him in. I was like, Randy, no. We don't need any more animals. This is good. He's perfect. He's great. Anyways, he's pretty lazy like Bella, so he just sleeps all day. So there's that. After the games, I have taken some downtime, haven't really worked out to the extent of what I was working out, of course, because you can't do that year round. It's just not feasible. But I have been doing some like class workouts with Randy, some bodybuilding workouts at Gold's Gym with Randy. And yeah, we've taken some trips. Like my birthday is August 23rd. So every year I get to celebrate it after the games. My mom and I went out to Vegas and we went to go see Shania Twain, which was a lot of fun. And then I took a 24-hour trip back to Texas. So I went to Texas twice in August for kind of for my birthday, but also my oldest brother's wife was graduating from PT school, so we got to celebrate her. And then Randy and I took a very short trip over Labor Day to Maui, which I personally have never been to Hawaii, so it was really fun. It was too short though, and we didn't get to do everything that we wanted to do, but it was still a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to go. I just don't like to fly over the ocean, and that was a very long time to fly over the ocean. So I tried not to think about it, but it ended up going pretty well. What I've been kind of focusing on now is I am going to do a competition this off season, but it's not going to be a CrossFit competition. I'm going to do a high rocks, which I'm really excited about. I think that kind of fits just me in general because I did a lot of running before CrossFit, and so I love when we run at the games, longer distance the better, and that's basically what a high rocks is. It's like 8K worth of running, so you're basically doing a 1K run in between each little I guess event that they have, or I don't know what you would call it, but what would you call that?
A station, maybe?
A station, yeah. So you're doing a 1K between each station. It's 9 different stations, 10 different stations. I don't know. I haven't really looked it up, though. I should probably do some research. But you have things like a 1K ski. You have lunging. I think the last thing is like 100 wall balls. So it's like basically an hour to 90 minutes of just movement. It's just one day, one event, and then you're done. So just to change things up. Not that I'm not going to compete in CrossFit, but I just wanted to change it up. Possibly going to do Wadapalooza in Miami, but that'll be like a last minute decision. And yeah, so that's kind of where my head's at as far as what the off season's going to look like for me. But in between that, I am going to head to Berlin, which I've never been to Germany, but the headquarters for Adidas. Where's Adidas at? Where's that logo at? There you go. Adidas is in Germany, and so I'm actually going to get to go out there. It's a privilege for sure, and hang out. I think there's like a fitness festival going on, so it should be a lot of fun. I'm excited about that, which we are going to do a packing YouTube video, which could be interesting because I'm usually a last minute packer, but I'm going to pack in advance just for y'all. I feel like the biggest word that comes to my mind that I'm starting to get over the last month has been apathetic. It's a big word. I didn't even know really what that meant, but I was talking to one of my girlfriends, Emma, about it, and it's a word that I use a lot, or it's something that I feel a lot post CrossFit Games, which is just kind of feeling like blah. And that's kind of like the definition of apathetic, just not wanting to really do much. Like nothing sounds exciting. There's just like a whole lot of blah going on. And that's a pretty typical feeling. Like I said, it's a pretty normal feeling. And there might be some mixture because of the grief going on in there that's making me feel a little bit more like that. But what I've actually noticed that's made a huge difference because I've changed it is that I was actually being on my phone a lot, like on Instagram, and I'm never on Instagram. I hate it. I hate social media. Sorry, guys. Oof, she's gonna have to poop soon. Bella's right here, guys. But yeah, it was just something that I realized that was actually making a huge difference in how I was feeling. I'm usually a very like creative person. A lot of things come into my mind throughout the day, and I have the privilege to just have a lot of time, unlike other people with how my schedule is set up. And especially when I'm on an off season, I have a lot of time off. So there's a lot of thinking that goes on. And I was actually like trying to put pressure on myself because one thing that I really want to do in the near and the far future is write. Like I have been doing writing since like 2021, but I really want to do something with that. And I was putting all this pressure on myself to do it, and like the creative juices weren't flowing. And I was like, but I have all this time. Why can't I use it? Why is it not working? And so I ended up telling my two girlfriends about how I was feeling. And one of my girlfriends, Emma, was just like, does the word apathetic kind of like line up with how you're feeling? And I was like, well, I don't really know what that word means. So I looked it up and I was like, actually, yes, that's actually exactly how I'm feeling. And so anyway, so I took like last week and I was just trying to figure out, I'm always trying to figure out why I feel a certain way and like kind of go through the thought process of like, if this, then that. And it's not always like that, but I think there are things that can cause, like, it's like cause and effect. And I was on my phone a lot, just on Instagram scrolling. And it's an addiction. It really is. It can come so quickly if you're not like fully aware of it. And so I kind of cut that, and literally the next day, like, because I was getting up in the morning and going straight to my phone. And then I decided, I was like, okay, I should probably not do that. And the moment I did that, the creativity started coming back. And so it was just like a very interesting thought, and just had me thinking about, I don't know, I could go through a web of things, but in short term, like I was just thinking about how society is now. And it's just like, we're a shell of, like, I was a shell of a person for like 2 weeks. And I think a lot of it had to do with just like constantly being on my phone, just like on Instagram and social media. And it wasn't anything bad I was looking at, because most of the stuff I'm looking at is like quotes of things. I have a lot of like Christian Bible verses on there, people talking about the Bible, dogs, cats. Like, it's not anything bad, but I think it just takes away from like yourself and your personality and like the creativity that can come. So it's just been an interesting, I guess, observation, because this past week I haven't gotten on my phone in the morning and just taken time until like 11 or 12 to get on my phone, and creativity has instantly come back. And that's how I am usually year round, but I was just like kind of connecting the dots, which it's simple, right? It's a very simple thing, but it's actually a very hard thing to do, because it's just like anything else, like caffeine, alcohol, drugs, like sex. It's an addiction, and they get you. It's so easy. So anyways, it had me like thinking about stuff, and yeah, so I just wanted to share that. I don't know where exactly I was going with that, but that was like a word I was feeling this month was apathetic, and where I'm thinking it's coming from is a lot of it's from the phone, and that's why I don't like the phone. I think subconsciously there's like, I don't really like to be on my phone, and that's a big reason why, is because my creativity gets like zapped, and I don't have anything that's going on in my mind, and I just feel like a shell of a person. So anyways, that's kind of where I'm at. I feel a lot more creative. I feel like my happy Bethany is coming back, my creativity is coming back, and I just feel like more alive. So I'm just planting seeds over here, guys, just planting seeds. If you're feeling like that, maybe something to look at. And it doesn't have to be as long as I do in the morning, but maybe it's you don't go directly to your phone in the morning right when you get up. Like, take time to sit with yourself, even if you're not religious, even if you don't like have a relationship with God. Like, take time to be with yourself and your thoughts before like going directly to your phone, and just see if that makes a difference with how you're feeling. And See if creativity comes. See if you just have the spark. See if you like just feel better overall. There's a lot of pros to social media and having a phone and like technology in 2024, and I'm not trying to take away from that, but I think it's also important to have like awareness around that. So anyways, that's my spiel, and I'm sticking with it. Did you fart? You stinkies. It's very stinky. Yeah, she's gonna definitely have to poop here soon.